welcome to Gameolio episode 30. We're a bunch of gamers and we play games. Then we come on the podcast and we talk about that.
How new and exciting.
Yes! And hi, Richie.
Sorry.
Well, look, just before we get into that, if you do want to contact us in any way, then the best way to do that is probably via email. If you just send a message to gameolio@gameolio.com, we shall get it, Richie will read it, and we'll have fun times. Other ways you can do it is just to jump onto our webpage, www.gameolio.com, and there's a couple buttons there. I think there's 6 buttons or so, and you can click on those and interact with us via Twitter or Facebook or our blog. There's a couple ways you can do it. You're smart people, you'll figure it out. But we have a special guest here today, returning. Well, he's not really a special guest. I guess he's a returning host. But Rich is back from New York.
Yes, thank you very much, Daniel.
Hey, how was it?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah?
It was great.
Yeah.
Completely non-gaming related. I kind of feel like I've been kind of out of the loop. The funniest thing was I was actually in America, and I was in New York when all this was, so it was all going on, for once, it was all going on local time. Like I didn't have to get up at 5 a.m. or something stupid to watch all the press conferences.
Yeah. But so that what time was it on over there?
Microsoft was 9. No, Microsoft was in New York was 12:30, I think.
Okay.
And Sony was 5:30, something like that.
Yeah.
And they actually broadcast the Microsoft press conference in Times Square, and I had planned to actually go there.
Yeah.
And watch it all. But right when it was happening, we were changing hotels, so I couldn't do it. So, best laid plans. And so I caught up with the whole thing on Twitter.
Yeah.
So it's quite ironic. Yeah, the first time was actually in America, and I didn't watch it.
Yeah,
I didn't participate in any way.
So, but look, while you're walking around New York, did you notice any locations that may have been in, I don't know, games like Crisis 2? Even though you probably haven't played Crisis 2.
No, I wanted to actually go to New York first so that I'd appreciate it a whole bunch more.
Yeah.
And it's totally true.
Yeah.
Like, since I've got back, I've watched, some films filmed in New York. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, I understand. I know what I'm looking at,
Yeah.
It goes from just being a film set to you understand, oh, this is X Street, this is Y Street, or that's that part of town. And, I know where they're talking about.
Yeah.
So, I can go into Crisis 2 and what other games are, every game's New York at the moment, Modern Warfare 3.
Well, yeah.
All of that, and I'll be totally appreciative of what I'm shooting.
Or at least spend a few more minutes looking at that window over there on the left and see, oh, okay, that's exactly
I've been there.
Yeah, I've been there, man. Oh, dodge some bullets. Yeah, but it's cool. Well, it's good to have you back.
Thank you.
And Haven and I, Phuong, are not here, which...
hey, whoa.
Yeah, well, apparently there was a little do going on called Supernova.
They're at a nerd conference.
Yeah. Well, people there dress up and I suppose they enjoy their comics or anime and games, I suppose, as well. So, but NerdConf, they just enjoy that type of stuff. I'm not going to go and say it like Richie said it, but,
I was joking.
I know.
Listen to me here on a gaming podcast, calling anyone else a nerd.
Yeah. Well, look, Rich, you went overseas and you had a lot of downtime, I guess, getting on that plane. Did you get a chance to try any PSP or iOS related games or even games on the plane?
Do you know what? I didn't, which is, I understand why that's completely ridiculous, but I didn't.
Okay.
I don't know. It was just so... I was traveling with an almost 2-year-old. That kind of drags your attention away. Like if I pulled out a PSP or my iPhone and started playing a game, my daughter would just grab it and go, "That looks fun. I'll have that." So there's none of that.
Yeah.
And then when she was asleep, I was trying to get sleep on the plane because that plane trip is very long.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't really the opportunity. And of course, when I was in New York, I thought, well, I can sit here and play a video game, or I can go and walk around New York. So the choice was quite easy.
Yes.
I did go into a GameStop once, an American GameStop, which is exactly like EB Games here in Australia, right down to the shelving and the way everything's spaced out and all the ads in the store. It was exactly the same. I thought, well, I came here for some local flavor. This isn't it. I also went to the Nintendo World store.
There's a Nintendo World.
There's a Nintendo
whole
world
store.
Of
Nintendo.
Yeah. Pretty small.
Yeah, that's what I would think, because they don't
there.
have too much. Well, unless they're extending. Does it extend into the GameCube, N64, Super Nintendo? They have the old cartridges there or anything like that?
No, not a GameCube game to be found. I was very disappointed. I thought it'd be like the last bastion of all the old Nintendo stuff, and they would just have it all.
Yeah.
But no, it was all DS, 3DS, and Wii. And not much of it at that. I thought they did pretty poorly. And I went in the day after or 2 days after the Nintendo press conference, and not a thing on the Wii U.
Right. Yeah. Oh, well, I guess I have to wait for that memo to come around.
It was like the ground floor. You walk in and it's like all Pokemon. It's a Pokemon assault.
Oh. So you're telling me Pokemon outweighs Zelda and Mario?
Oh God,
they're off in the corner there, and
they're upstairs. You got to go upstairs to see them. Pokemon ground floor.
So it should be Pokemon World, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Burn it to the ground. But okay, cool. So that's you. Look, kind of unrelated, but how did your daughter handle the flight? Because that's one thing that I was thinking about the whole time. I was like, oh man, I don't know. I hear stories about little kids and those long flights and not being able to handle it, or they're just a handful for everybody. Yeah. How'd that go?
Look, I will freely admit I was terrified of the plane trip.
Yeah.
I wasn't at all thinking about the actual holiday.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that plane trip. And she was actually fine.
Yeah.
The funny thing that I didn't count on, because it's been ages since I've done an international flight, is that the air conditioning on the plane is so loud, it pretty much drowns out everything she's doing. There's just this constant...
man.
So every time she'd pipe up, it'd be like, a whisper in the storm. No, it was fine. Look, it actually turned out really good. We didn't need to bring out any of the baby Panadol or any of the other drugs that we had to kind of knock her out, tranquilizer darts, none of that. No, it went really well.
Oh, cool. Excelente. All right, that's good. Well, look, while you've been away, I've been getting into a bit of League of Legends.
Hey.
And have you ever heard of League of Legends?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, you've heard of Dota.
Yes.
Defense of the Agents, I think it's called. So it's a
strategy.
Well, yeah, I guess so. It takes place in that type of map, except instead of controlling a whole heap of fronts, you control one character, so a hero character, but you're on that type of map. Anyway, so strategic to a point, but it's very much. I guess you could almost be arcade-ish. I don't know what the genre would be called for that, but it's really top-down, and you control one guy. He's got a whole heap of powers, and you've got maybe 2 or 5 people on your side, and, of course, the same on the opposing side. And the whole objective is pretty much, it's kind of like capture the flag, but you pretty much blow up their base. That's what you do, right? So they're trying to protect that, and you're trying to protect yours. You're trying to take each other ones out. So I've been playing a bit of that, and which is surprising because I absolutely hated Dota when I first played it.
Really?
All those years ago. Yeah, I didn't hate it. I just didn't see what people were so fussed about. Like, I would much rather.
The people who liked it were really good at it.
Yeah, but I was more like, it was like, okay, yeah, so we go and we destroy that. Then what's the next map look like? Oh no, it's the same map. Do I get more powers or something? No. You pretty much just reset and we do the whole thing again from scratch. I'm going back to Guild Wars, so yeah, you can catch me there. But it didn't do anything for me. But with League of Legends, you've got so it's updated graphics and that sort of thing. But you've got runes and masteries, and let's think of World of Warcraft with a little talent tree. It's pretty much that transported into this, and you've also got runes which can heighten certain abilities or reduce cooldowns, a bit more energy, that type of thing. So you can actually specialize your character, and when you play, you don't play against people lower level. It's all around the same level. So you can really be unique in your character if you choose to be, which I kind of dig. And it's a simple type of game. It's like I explained to you, and just good for 30 minutes of fun here and there. And that's kind of what I've been doing. So yeah, that's been a hell of a lot of fun. And
that's cool.
Yeah, hopefully it can play on Mac, because I think there's a Mac version coming out soon. So maybe we can play a bit of co-op on that, because it's.
I would put money down that my MacBook probably won't be able to run it.
Yeah, well, at some point down the line, perhaps. Maybe they'll make an iOS version of it or something like that.
Yeah, it'd be good. It'd be good to actually be able to play something.
Yeah. The other thing that I've been playing is The Witcher 2.
Oh, yeah. Now, which version did you get? Did you get the Australian version, or did you get the good old games version?
I got the GOG version. I don't, because the CD Projekt gave me a code for the game, so they told me to go to that place and download it from there, and that's what I did. And so I'm not entirely sure what version it is. I'm pretty sure it'd be
if it's not the one you bought in the Australian store, then you got the international version, because I think the Australian one was the only version anywhere that was altered.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how that particular system where I went to, it did ask where I lived and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know if it changed that in any way, but regardless, I went ahead and played that game, and started playing it anyway. And man, it's very taxing on my computer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, whoa, it's like a slideshow. What's happening? I'm like, my graphics card is 2 years old. But come on. And this sort of led to the problem of, I just would probably prefer to play this on an Xbox 360. At least I know it's going to run to a certain degree, a playable degree, 60 frames per second, 30 frames, whatever it is, it's going to be locked in. It'll run smooth, and I won't have to even think about those problems,
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it's not really the Witcher's fault, or it's just, perhaps it is. It's just the idea of
it's the character of the Witcher. It's his fault.
It's his fault. Geralt.
It's like no. This PC version of my game, no, it's got to be maxed out. I won't show up.
That's it. But yeah, it's like, well, guys, you've got this type of technology in your graphics cards. Make games that go to that type of technology. Wait for 4 years, then go to the next level.
Start now. That's never been the way.
I know it's never been the way, but that's what's so frustrating about it. Because I've always I have just been upgrading my computer as I go along, and I would play games that I'd miss out on. So I've been playing for another year or so games that are old and can run on my graphics card perfectly.
Yep.
And at that point where I'm getting a new game, it's like, I'll go, okay, maybe it's time to upgrade. And that's 4 or 5 years' time, But now when I'm sort of playing these new games all the time, I notice it's so much more. Like half a year or 6 months ago, I could play a game full maxed out, everything, no problem. And 6 months down the line, I'm struggling. But now that I'm going to undo all that, because they did release, like, they're really good, this company, especially with The Witcher, the first one, installing new patches to sort out problems with the game. So, yeah, The Witcher 2 seemed to have these problems for me, and I noticed that they had released a patch, a second patch 1.1 they called. Installed that, ran the game. It was like, they took a bat and smacked it across the head, because it started performing quite well. It was actually doing all right. And then they put in a new patch just recently, and I'm not sure what the difference between 1.1 and 1.2 is, but I can now play full screen, because I had to even drop it down to 720p. But I can play full screen.
Humanity.
I can play full screen and have, a couple of good graphic options on, and it plays fairly okay, between 30 and 40 frames per second, which is okay. It's playable. Having said all that, I'd still sort of like to play it on the Xbox 360, because I've got my control pad here hooked up to the PC, and that's how I'm playing it at the moment. I don't have no need to go ahead and use the mouse or keyboard, really. So if I'm doing all that, I might as well be sitting on the couch. Anyway, The Witcher 2, good game.
And you're not just saying that because they gave you a free code, right?
No, mate.